mean, that was one of my good friends in the league. Tough situation. Not cool, not okay, but
Not the
you know,
thing I would have said if I was a co-star with Diddy, but
hey man, listen, you know what I
Arian
learned in this
friends
life,
with
man.
Diddy, Ray Rice, a noted avid Michael Jackson defender. Lately, I've been more intentional about what I wear day to day, leaning into pieces that feel easy, comfortable, and still put together. It just makes getting dressed simpler. Quince has been my go to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are clean, and everything just works without needing to overthink it. Quince has all the wardrobe staples for spring. Think 100% European linen shorts and shirts from $34. Lightweight, breathable, and comfortable, but still look put together. And clean 100% Pima cotton tees with a softness that has to be felt. Their pants also hit that same balance, relaxed and comfortable, but still polished enough to wear pretty much anywhere. Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman, so you're getting premium materials without the markup. I have one of my favorite quarter zips is Quince. It's a nice cashmere, feels great, looks awesome, has a stiff collar. You always got to look out for that. You don't want a floppy collar. Quince gives you the good stuff. It's awesome. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/dose for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/DOSE for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dose.
All right, welcome back to the Macrodosing Podcast. It's your boy, Arian.
A train.
Big T, and it's just Maddie today, right? Where Matt is Mac here?
Mackenzie is in and out. She's busy being a director.
Director. Beautiful. We still got little man's out. He's still running the streets, running the sports
He's
streets.
busy doing puff pieces for Lane Kiffin.
I saw him posing with Lane. Give me your top 3 questions you'd ask Lane Kiffin.
I mean, I would have more time to prepare for this interview than right now. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They did a good job. They did ask him, like, would you have done anything differently? Which he kind of answered.
Talking about at Tennessee.
No. Well, I think they did say they were talking about Ole Miss specifically, but then Big Cat asked him about most of the places you've left. There's been turmoil, like, or do you think you kind of draw that sort of ire upon yourself? But they did a good job. I was just messing with PFT, but
I would ask him, what is your goal as like a head coach? Like what is your goal as far as like I would think like clearly it's not legacy, right? Because usually like college coaches that want to succeed in that high fashion, I think they usually like sticking to one place and building that out for their own as their own legacy. But he's had like 4 or 5 of the most prestigious jobs a college coach can have, and it's like I would just like what is your goal here? Like I assume he's like it's to win, but I would probably drill down more on that if he just said to win.
I think
But I
it's
just
pretty clear. This is me hypothesizing, but he could have stayed at Ole Miss, a program which he had built to be very competitive, very successful, forever, never been fired. He may have won they damn near won the national championship last year after he left. He could have won a national championship there. Is it as easy as it is at LSU? No. But he could have done it. He would have had a statue outside the stadium. He would have had a street named after him. I think it's pretty clear he is after I think he has some vanity. No pun intended, given his recent interview in Vanity Fair. That's something I would have asked about. But yeah, I think he likes being in the headlines, and that's fine. There's a place for that.
he wants to be like the college football Kim Kardashian.
He is a successful enough coach to continue getting opportunities that give him the ability to remain in the limelight.
I don't disagree with that. That is the thing I noticed about a lot of some of college coaches. A lot of them fail upwards too. There's a lot of falling up in college football.
See, I
But
think that about the NFL. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in college, but the NFL just rehires the same,
they
you know,
do
but
recycle.
between head coach and coordinators, there are what, 66 or 96, excuse me, head coaches and coordinators, and they just rehire the same ones all the time. Like, it's very rare that they hire a guy from college or that, someone, new climbs the ranks. It's always the same guys.
I'm sure there's exceptions to this, but from my experience, if you got talented cats in the league, you're gonna win. Right. Uh to me, college is more of a developmental ground.
For
And what
sure.
makes a good college coach is, hey, you got to teach him how to be a young man. And I think that aspect of college has kind of gone down the wayside because of the money aspect of it. It's hard for a kid to listen to a coach and say, hey, it's time. You got to be on time. You got to be accountable. You got to do this. You got to do this. If I'm making $2 million a year, it's hard because that would be the leverage that you hold over the kid's head, is like the reasons why you need to do these things so you can set yourself up to be a successful person. What does it mean to be a successful person? Boom, boom, boom. But now it's like I walk into college, I'm a millionaire or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even like 50 grand, if I get 50, 60 grand, that's a lot of money for a kid. And I just can't see the developmental part happening anymore, which is why I feel like a coach like Lane Kiffin kind of is what college football is now. Like, whatever, man. Let's all just get this money together and play good ball.
To your point about development, to show you how old of a concept that is now, Tennessee this year is either going to start a redshirt freshman who was a very high 4-star at quarterback or a true freshman who was a 5-star at one point, the number one quarterback in the country. It used to be, even 5 years ago, that was an enviable position to be in, that you would have those two guys competing. All right, whichever one of them comes out, that's going to be your guy. Sure, they're young, but very talented players. People talk about Tennessee next season as if they don't have a quarterback, like that they're going to play with 10. Like, oh, you didn't get a senior $5 million transfer in the portal. Oh, you're dead. Having two guys compete for the job used to be the way it worked. That's how it used to go.
Yeah, the landscape has changed, and now it's good business to go get somebody who has been through the college system a little bit.
And I agree with that. If Tennessee had gotten one of the transfer quarterbacks this year, I would have been thrilled in doing that, and you let those guys sit for another year, whatever. But, like, it used to be that you had to develop your own players.
Yeah. And that was part of the skill set of being a coach. And also, who was it that uh who was it that said it? That was like, it was a part of a character development from the athlete's point of view of like I remember when I was coming out, my redshirt freshman year, they were playing, and I've told him this to his face and plenty times afterwards. My redshirt freshman year, I actually was behind Montario Hardesty. Uh and this is actually, I don't know if I've ever told this story. We were playing Ole Miss. Mm. We were playing Ole Miss, and he had started to beat me out. And the Ole Miss game came, and Trooper Taylor, our running back coach, Gerald Riggs was the starter at the time. He calls Montario, and I'm right there by Troop, and he don't hear him. And he's like, Terrio, Terrio. And everybody's like, I don't know. To this day, I never asked him like where he was. But I think it was Ole Miss. But he puts me in. So he puts me in, and I do pretty well. Uh and then I come back out. Montario comes in a little later on. I think he tears his ACL. And from that standpoint, I took my game to the next level. And we kind of traded carries from here and there, but that kind of changed the trajectory of my career. Excuse me. But what developed me most as a player was that competition of I used to I was a film junkie. So I used to sit in the film room and just over consume that stuff. And I watched all of his practice reps, every single one of his practice reps, Monterio. I was like, what is it that he's doing that I'm not doing that the coaches love about it so much? And I figured it out. He was disgusting at getting upfield. It doesn't matter what. Like I had a tendency when I first got, because I was so much faster than everybody in high school, I would just beat everybody to the edge. Well, in college, guys are a lot faster, and so they cut off that angle, and so they coach you to get upfield. And so we didn't have anybody on the roster previously or to that point that got upfield the way that he did. He was explosive as shit. One of the most explosive people I've ever seen get up the field. And so when that clicked, I implemented that into my game during the offseason. I got upfield, I exploded. And that's part of the reason why I developed the dead leg, which helped me so much in the NFL. And I've told Monteiro that for years afterwards. I was like, dog, you spearheaded my career because you were so good at it that I had to study why did the coaches love you so much? But it was that competition that I saw something he was better than me at. And I took it upon myself as a challenge to get better at that shit so that I could develop more of my game so that the coaches put me on the field. It feels like that kind of shit is gone, or it's at least it's fading away. That kids aren't unnecessarily scared of the competition. They're just like, well, if y'all don't see my value, then somebody else will, which is not
For sure.
untrue. It's just competition, especially in the athletic field. That shit breeds greatness. If you that kind of person, if you cut from that kind of cloth, which I feel like I was the best ever, and I feel like every athlete should feel like that. But if you run into somebody that's better, what does that do to you? Like, how do you react to that situation? And then you can take this in life as well. I tell people all the time, it's like, dog, if somebody has a better value set, or they see value in somebody else that more than you, what are you going to do to outwork that, to change that perception? And it says it's a character trait. But anyway, that was an extremely pivotal point in my career, in my life, and I just feel like that shit's gone, dog. Like, he's just leaving. And
the scenario you're describing, a ton of guys do this. They're like, all right, well, I'm not playing at Tennessee, so I'm going to enter the portal, and I'm going to go to Ole Miss or Texas or whatever. They're not looking for guys who weren't playing at Tennessee. They're looking for guys who either were playing at Tennessee or were tearing it up at Tulane or James Madison or whatever. So then you end up transferring to Texas State, and then it turns out you're not as good as you thought you were, and now you're at Texas State and you're not playing, or you're not playing well. And then now you try to transfer again, and now nobody wants you, and you end up just in the portal and you have no job anywhere.
That is actually a good. I wonder, there's got to be some kind of stats of the success rate.
There is. I saw it the other day. Let me find it.
I would love to see that while you're looking for it, but like the stats of the success rate of the transfers. Because when you transfer, what I think, like, so if I go to a big school, if I go to Ohio State and I'm like, well, they don't want me, I'll go somewhere else. If you go to another big school, I feel like that's probably good. But if let's say you do it again, or a big school isn't interested in you because they're looking for somebody who could play now, you go to a smaller school. Like, the big schools have the better coaches. They have the better facilities. They have the better infrastructure around being an athlete. I tell college kids who ever ask for advice this all the time. I'm like, dog, colleges it is a haven. It is everything that you need is there. They have nutritionists. They have weight rooms. They have coaches. They have experts, therapists, anything that you need to get better. If you decide to get better, you will get better there. So, like, take advantage of all of that stuff. If you go to a smaller school, I'm sure they have a similar infrastructure around, but it's not like the big colleges. It's nowhere near. Like, shit, last time I walked into the Tennessee facilities, I was like, man, if I had this shit, I'd have been way better.
Yeah, I mean, college, I don't know what the top NFL facilities are, but big-time colleges are way nicer than NFL facilities.
It's not even close because they're not recruiting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're stuck there. You got what we got.
It is what it is. And it's not only that, it's like, and they have nutritionists and they have staff and stuff like that, but at that point in time, you are the CEO of your own business. Like I was the CEO of Arian Foster Incorporated. So I had to take it upon myself to invest in my body, to invest in my mind, to invest in my nutrition, to further my career so that I can continue getting the income that I wanted. It's on you at that point because they're just like, yo, we have a farm system that's never ending. Then and we're actively trying to replace you all the time. And so fuck off if you want to. Somebody else will come and get the job done. That's how I looked at it. That's how it is. But I think a lot of times kids don't understand that aspect of it and don't understand that opportunity. And youth is wasted on the young. But like the opportunity that you have in those college systems, man, sometimes I wish I could just go. If I could do that shit for like a month, I'd be in the best shape of my life. If I could go go live in a dorm room at the University of Tennessee or the University
There's
of
a
Georgia for a month.
non-zero chance we could make that happen.
I probably could if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Well, actually, that would be pretty fire
That'd
though.
be a sick video.
It would be a dope video. I get to golf every day. I guarantee this. If I
I know
can,
some people at golf courses out there too. I can.
that's what we hook it up. What is it? Imagine this. I get to neglect all my responsibilities for a month, 2 months.
Yeah, you do
And
have kids and stuff, so
I said, yeah, it was hypothetical. 2 months, I neglect all my responsibilities, and I live in a college dorm, and my entire purpose is to get better at golf. In 2 months, my handicap's dropping 4 or 5 strokes. I guarantee it, dog.
you think you get to scratch?
I think I could. And for the people saying no, it's not, dog. I work. People don't know how to work. But I work, dog. It's different. At the height of my career, like there was a point in time I was working out 3 times a day, but I do it smart. I did it effectively. I was not the best athlete in the world, dog. I worked myself into, and I think most people can, but you gotta have discipline. But anywho,
You think you could get the University of Houston or Rice to be like, listen, this summer, let me come in just every morning for a month and work with me.
Yeah. I could go to any gym in any college and they'll tell them who you are. People they love that type of shit just because it gives it a little bit more.
No, for
notoriety.
golf.
I'm sure I could. Yeah, I'm sure I could. But who knows?
It'd be a fun video.
Fuck no, I don't want no former Pro Bowl learning how to golf from my golf coaches. No, fuck out of here.
I don't know. Colleges are weird about shit. I was going to say about the facilities, though, I do think some of that is going to go away because part of the reason the NFL doesn't have facilities like that is they're spending way more money on their players, which colleges are now. And so for a long time, colleges just had money coming out their ass. They're like, fuck it, build a mini golf course and a slide, and we can do whatever we want. Now,
slide.
Clemson has a slide in their facility. You can slide down from the second floor down to the first floor.
I don't doubt it.
But now you got to pay $800,000 for your right guard, so you don't have all that money just flowing all the time.
I'm of the old. You seen one of the Rockies? I don't know which one. Were we fighting the Russian?
Yeah, it was a Rocky 3. People,
I don't know.
Or 4. People are gonna get mad.
I
I watched it. It was fine. It was good.
Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah, I mean, whatever about the movie, but there's an underlying theme there that I fully believe in. Like the Russian was training with all of this, the glitz and the glamour and the high tech and the this and the body comp and the this and the that. And Rocky was like lifting logs and running on the road and like do the old school. I'm old school when it comes to that shit. All that shit. Yeah, I think some of that information is important, but at the end of the day, head to the road, we grinding. That's what I believe in.
Sometimes you need to just carry sacks of potatoes.
Potatoes, not even potatoes. Potatoes.
Sack of potatoes.
Sack of potatoes.
By the way, to our earlier question, approximately 30 to 40% of NCAA Division I athletes who enter the transfer portal do not find a new team at that same competitive level. Across all divisions, over half
what
of
was that? What was the percentage?
30 to 40 don't find somewhere so like if you're D1, they don't go to another D1 program. Over half the student athletes who enter the portal each cycle do not successfully move on to another college program. That's across all divisions. So all divisions, more than 50% of the people who enter the portal, that's it. They just don't find somewhere else to go.
That makes sense. I wonder if these stats are. Yeah, they probably are. Like in team meetings, they'll be like, "And look, guys, this is the
Oh
percentage.
yeah,
If you
100%.
want to leave, good luck." I could hear all those meetings.
Yeah, the
And then the
people
kid,
like the person we described is precisely the person who should stay where they're at and has a good situation and a scholarship at a big school, and like hopefully you're able to beat somebody out and play. But if you're not, like, I mean, you still kind of got a good thing going.
to our point last episode when we was talking about these crazy ass youth sports parents, it be them.
Mm-hmm.
It be the parents that think that your kid is the listen. Your kid is not. Sorry, your kid is probably an average athlete, and that's all right, man. Um, I know he probably had some touchdowns at your local whatever, but the odds of this shit happening are very low. And I'm very realistic with my kids too. Like training my son for basketball right now. I'm like, I think you got a chance to actually go D1. I really do. I do think he has a chance. I'm like, but a lot of shit can happen. And if you don't handle your business, it's not gonna happen. And so we have to keep realistic expectations and make sure you handle all of your other stuff, your grades and everything on the back end. Um, because I don't have a pipe dream for my kids to do anything. I want them to be happy. I want to set them up for success. But a lot of these parents, man, they be gassing their kids' head up, and so now they sitting in the room, they ain't getting a shot. Go home, man. The coach don't like me. Coach ain't playing me. Well, let's just hit the transfer portal. All right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
And worse than the parents now, they all have agents who are telling you you should be playing, man. You could go play at Georgia Tech right now. Or Florida State told me like they'll okay.
Yeah. Do they have any kind of, I guess, vetting system for agents for kids now, or is it
I
just whatever?
believe so. I think there's like a process you have to go through, but I don't think it's very robust.
It's not even robust in the league, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, good luck to all those youngins who statistically will go pro in something other than sports. It's okay, man. I had a homeboy who was a middle linebacker or outside linebacker for us. He's a medical doctor now. Like he was never trying to get to the league. He was good as a college age, he was really good. But he was like, I'm trying to be a doctor. We were at the time, we're like, what the fuck, bro? That shit is lame, right? But like looking back, I'm like, yo, that shit was amazing. And shout out to him. Like it's one of the most amazing things where he used all the tools, all the resources, and became a medical doctor, a real one.
That's good.
Adam Myers White. Shout out
Nice.
to Adam Myers White.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Do you
My
know who
guy.
Aaron Kraft is?
Aaron, I know Marlon Kraft is.
Aaron, he actually has a Tennessee tie. He was on the recruiting visit that Bruce Pearl hosted. That was an illegal barbecue that ended up spiraling into a bunch of stuff that got Bruce Pearl fired. But he played at Ohio State he was one of the original, before guys could actually play 7 and 8 years. He was one of the guys that people were like, he's been there for 8 years. I don't know how he's still playing. And he was a really good college point guard, and he's a doctor now. I think he's doing like his residency at Ohio State.
I believe so as well. It's like, or obviously not doctor too, but who's that New York Giants player who now is like a partner at Goldman Sachs?
Justin Tuck.
Yeah.
I saw that the other day.
Is he really?
I saw an interview the other day with him, probably the same one, Big T, where he was talking about how, yes, he was playing football to make it to the league and whatever, but he's like, I always had a vision after that. Like I went to college, I believe he went to Notre Dame.
Yes.
And he was like, I wanted to get a good education to further myself so that I could do something like this after, like in my mind, being at the end of my playing career did not mean I was at the end of my career. I was, looking for something bigger. And now he's a freaking partner at Goldman. And I will say it was kind of funny. He was holding himself in the interview, like in a full suit and tie, but like he had a reflex where he was holding his shoulders like he had pads on. And he was like grabbing onto nothing basically, but just like he had pads on. It was very funny.
Yeah, I played against Justin.
Good player.
Yeah, really. But I think that's such a awesome move to, especially if you're in a situation like you were in, Arian, where you don't come from this really rich background and you're giving your family this generational wealth to also have something afterwards. Like you do this and like music, and it's really interesting to see how people use the education that they do get outside of football.
Yeah. I was unfortunately burdened with a mind that was never satiated with anything else but other minds who are never satiated with anything else, which leads to the field of philosophy, which there's no career to philosophy.
Are
But
your
it's fun to
credits
study.
still good?
I don't even know, brother.
Could you
I,
finish?
probably. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd have to retake some classes, but I think for the most part, yeah. But I have no interest in finishing for philosophy.
Yeah.
My family has always pushed me to do it, but I'm like, for what? Like, I don't know.
You'd get a nice tweet. It'd get retweeted a lot. Like UT would be like, "Oh, look who graduated today," and people would be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
that's cool."
I mean, they just did it for Ray Rice at Rutgers,
Ray.
I,
Oh, Ray Rice.
right?
I,
I saw
I don't
somebody
know.
else the other day too.
Who's the one that beat up the woman in the elevator?
That is Ray Rice.
Yeah, that was that guy.
Allegedly.
That was my.
I
You
only
know
say
what?
that to cover our ass legally. I'm not in favor of him or anything.
I mean, that was one of my good friends in the league. Tough situation. Not cool. Not okay. But
Not the
you know,
thing I would have said if I was a co-star with Diddy, but
hey man, listen. You know what I
Arian
learned in this
friends
life,
with
man.
Diddy, Ray Rice, a noted avid Michael Jackson defender. It's piling up.
100%. I'll
Piling
go
up.
toe to toe. I'll go toe to toe with anybody that thinks Michael Jackson was guilty. Anybody. 99.9% of the people that think he's guilty have never even looked into the allegations. But that's neither here nor there. What I was gonna say was
It might be there from what we were hearing. Is there anyone
zero.
else?
Not there. Uh it's funny you mentioned all the defamed people I'm friends with, but you're not gonna mention all the non-defamed people I'm friends with. Isn't that interesting? How fucking
Well, that was
convenient,
just
huh?
I'm sure you have some wonderful friends.
Well, why not mention them?
We've met some of them, good people.
Then mention them.
Well, because you talked about Ray Rice, and then I was like, oh well, did he?
Hey man, listen, man. The more and more I live this life, the more and more I understand. Life is a complicated thing. It's not black and white. People find themselves in positions and circumstances that they're not proud of, and that's life. But our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ,
All right.
does he not forgive people for their transgressions?
If you ask.
There you go. People fuck up, dog. Don't mean they bad people. There are some bad people
fair.
though. Don't get it twisted. There are some bad people. Um, hard pivot. Think Hunter Biden's on Twitter?
What?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this.
Just go to @HunterBiden, and he put out a tweet yesterday that said, "I'm Hunter Biden. You've never actually heard from me." It's got how much impressions? Uh, it's been liked 50,000 times. A lot. And then 3 hours ago, he teased a interview with Candace Owens, and she tweeted it out, and he quote tweeted it saying, "She's got questions, I've got answers Thursday." That should be an interesting interview.
Yeah. I'm watching her teaser right now.
Hunter Biden on the real Candace Owens show.
This screams to me a plea more so from Candace than Hunter.
You have my attention.
I mean, this is getting her name back out there as I feel it is beginning to fade. Would you disagree?
I think the entire I feel like there's very few good actors in political discourse. I think there's just a few. I don't know that there's a lot of them. I think the majority of it is, maybe it started with good intentions, but the majority of it now is keeping up with what's going on and using that as a platform to keep yourself relevant. I don't think that a lot of people uh actually care about like the political issues that help Americans or help global politics. I'm unconvinced of that, and I think she falls in that category. Um, why might you ask? Any detractor that disagrees with my statement? I would say the reason is how you have discourse, right? It's how you engage with these topics. Is it to further divide? Is it to garner an audience, or is it to actually understand these things, these nuanced topics that divide us all? I would argue that the people that are extremely divisive and have no interest in not even no interest, because sometimes they'll sit down with people from the other side, but I think the majority of it is just clickbait shit to get your shit viral. But it's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
don't.
don't disagree with that. It just seems like this is such an odd. I wonder who reached out to who.
That would be interesting. I'm sure they'll tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it, I guess.
I'm definitely watching it. I've kind of been checked out of the political sphere for a while, like probably like a couple months. Um, but I definitely want to tap back in for that.
You saw we had some primaries last night.
I did, and I saw what you had on the sheet.
So our
Tee it
boy,
up.
VFL, Derek Dooley, was defeated in his Georgia Senate primary by Mike
Mhm.
Collins. Almost came in third. He barely got second. But then the one everyone's talking about was the most expensive primary in U.S. history, House primary,
Yeah, a
uh,
lot of people were talking about this one.
where Thomas Massey lost his bid for reelection to Ed Galreen in the Kentucky 4th U.S. House District.
And why this is so controversial, I believe, is because I think there's a growing sentiment in American politics that is a bipartisan thing to get AIPAC, which is Israel's lobby, to get them out of American politics. Um, and Thomas Massey is reported to have no money taken from AIPAC, and his uh, what it would be incumbent. Uh,
Challenger. Massey
yeah,
is the incumbent.
yeah, there you go. Predecessor then.
No, Massey is the predecessor of this guy.
What's the other word for the nigga coming in? There's a good word for that. I don't know it
uh,
right now.
Elect?
well, no, he's not elected yet. He just won the primary.
What would it be?
Challenger,
There's
opponent, I
got
don't know.
gotta be a better one. There's gotta be a better one. Let me. I gotta know. There's gotta be a better one.
All the ones you're saying apply to the outgoing.
You're not wrong.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Predecessor. I don't know. His opponent that won has taken an alleged $15 million plus from APAC.
Successor is the word you're thinking
Successor.
of.
That's what I was looking
Yes.
for. Successor has taken $15 million from APAC. And I think that's why this one particularly is so um controversial. Our dude Zachary, who's on here talking about real estate, he was up there campaigning against this and trying to get Massey, specifically for this reason is he believes this as well, and I do too. I think that APAC is a stain. I think any lobbyist in general is a stain on American politics. I think it undermines democracy. And this is, to me, proof of it. This much money should not be involved in politics. Any amount of money, in my opinion. And that goes for both sides for anybody who wants to. I don't care if Democrats are receiving, and a lot of them are, which is why I'm usually further left than most Democrats. The reason why I don't like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all these cats who believe that um, lobbying is okay, who believe that uh, stock trading for government officials is okay. Fuck no, get all of that shit out of politics if you care about free elections, if you care about democracy. But here we are. And your boy just traded some stock too, did he? Trump did the same shit.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I believe he just bought stock in, let me get my facts right.
Well, you saw what he said this morning about Israel, didn't you?
I did not. What did he say?
He said he has 99% approval over there, and so when he's done with being president, maybe he'll go run for prime minister.
Like the shit that he said when he first ran, when he said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. I am, I know that was hyperbolic. I am fully convinced that he could actually literally do that now. And his sycophantic people that support him would be like, it was in self-defense. I I don't, there's nothing he could do. Everything, not everything. A lot of the shit that they say that they're against or is even un-American, unpatriotic, he does willfully and openly. It is it is hilarious. So yeah, he trades millions of dollars worth of Nvidia and Apple and Microsoft stock while promoting the companies.
He's got Nvidia, though. That was a good buy.
This is corruption, Connor. This is clearly corruption. And this isn't the first time he's done this either. Like he'll give a stock tip and then invest or buy or sell. He's been doing this shit. This is insane.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in government should be able to trade individual stocks.
JD Vance backed it. Defend stock trading and spree Trump financial. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's anything he could do wrong. There's nothing. There's nothing. And it's just
well, I mean, the people who would have to make that illegal would be Congress, and they're all doing that, so they're never gonna.
100%. I seen this interview. I am not advocating for political violence, but the shit was funny. I think it's a comedian.
He's about to advocate for political violence.
I'm not advocating for, but it was funny. It was objectively funny. He was like, he was like, they were just talking about democracy and stuff like that, and he's like, do you believe? He's like, I don't vote, and you shouldn't either. He's like, you know what I believe in? He's like, murder all these politicians. I was like, yo, and the dude was like, ha, that's very funny. He's like, no, I'm serious. Do it. He's like, that's the only thing that will fix this. He's like, they're all in bed with each other. They're all in bed with the companies, and the only way to do this is to kill them. I was like, yo.
This was a comedian?
Yeah, he was a comedian. Yeah. I want to say he was dead serious, but I can't tell him what's in his heart. But he was. It looked as though he didn't smile, but the other dude was like, "Well, I'm not for that, and I'm not either. I don't think you should kill people." Clearly, but that shit was.
Thank you for that.
Well, I mean, legislation a lot of times is written in blood, Connor. Not saying I'm going to. I'm not going to. I'm not advocating for it, but people feel strongly about something, that shit happens. We feel strongly about something, that shit happens. That's what war is. Does he actually have a 99% approval rating?
I would imagine not, but who knows? I don't. He said there was a poll. I don't know where that poll is.
There was a poll. Let's see. Trump approval rating in Israel. Trump, one of the best U.S. presidents for Israel. Majority of Israelis poll say 73% of Israelis rate Trump as a better than average president of terms of Israel's interest. This is why he's lost the far right to me, in my opinion. The far right.
That's part of it. So strong support, it seems.
Yep.
In the Thomas Massie primary, only one age group voted a majority for Ed Galreen, the guy who won, and that was people 65 and older. He had 65% of those voters. Every other age group, 18 to 29, 30 to 44, 45 to 64, were more than 50% for Thomas Massie.
That's interesting.
But who votes in primaries? Old people.
Old people, yeah.
They love to vote.
Well, I think as you age, you realize how important voting is. When you're younger, it's like, fuck it, dog. Let's go get these hoes. Respectfully.
I feel like I'm pretty tuned in. I didn't even know primaries were yesterday. I mean, we're not in a state where there
I
are
knew it
any
was
of
this week. I didn't know
consequence,
it was
but
yesterday. That's my fault.
guess it makes sense that it's on a Tuesday.
I think it is designed like that, brother. Unfortunately, you would think that a country that prides itself on democracy would do everything in their power to make it easier and more accessible for its constituents to vote, but that is not the case.
I think
I
you and
think
I could agree, unless you have like a remarkably extenuating circumstance or you're military or whatever. One day, it's a federal holiday. It's on a Friday. Give you a nice 3-day weekend. You go vote in person. There's a ton of voting places. One day, and you go vote somewhere, and that's it. And everybody's off work, the whole country. Or do a Saturday, whatever. But I feel like Friday, give people a day off. Nice little.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe that there has been legislation that has been proposed from the Democratic side that wanted to make it a holiday, but it was shot down. And there has been several, but I'm just looking about the specifics that I can't. I think it has been introduced at the federal level, but it gets killed. There are some Republicans, but very few. They usually don't toe the party line there, but it is kind of uniformly rejected at the federal level by the right side of the aisle. So you kind of are against the grain on there in your party.
I'd have to look into that, but I don't see why anybody would really be opposed to that, especially if you're reducing mail-in voting and things like that. You have to go in person unless you absolutely have to do a mail-in ballot.
I think they say, and I think it was Mitch McConnell, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think Mitch McConnell. Yep, he called it the Democratic Politician Protection Act. He says the framing being that higher turnout disproportionately helps Democrats, so making it easier is a partisan power grab. And that's kind of the party line there, which I don't think he's wrong there, but I think he's telling on himself. He's saying if we do this, if we make voting even, that will affect the voting outcome in a positive for Democrats. Which explains a lot of the reasons why
I do think he's wrong, but either way, I don't care.
I mean, there was shit that like if I go to try to vote in my neighborhood, right, which is a predominantly white neighborhood, I can get in that. This is the presidential election, right? I can get in that in 10, 15 minutes, easy. But if I go to like the inner city in Houston, I'd have to wait like 6, 7 hours to vote, right? And the not overwhelming, but the majority of I guess people that are more financial hardships are minorities, and they're less inclined to stand longer lines to vote. I think that's his thinking as well, which is why they pass laws in Texas to where it's like if you pass out water bottles to people standing in line, that's against the law. Which is like explain the rationale in that. You know what I mean? Like if people are thirsty, stand in line, but it's clear because I mean they say it. I think it does help. It would help.
If I recall correctly, the consternation about that was it can't be given out by people who work for a campaign, but there's within a certain distance from the polling place, but there's no law against like giving people water as long as you're not associated with one of the parties.
So if you're a Democrat standing in line waiting to vote, I was gonna vote Republican, but dog, this man gave me a bottle of water.
I'm just telling you what it is.
Joe Biden for me because of water.
I'm just telling you.
I feel you, dog.
And I mean, I guess it makes sense, but whatever. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is a journey. Some days feel good and others feel overwhelming. Whatever's keeping you up at night, it's easy to feel like you have to figure it all out on your own. But the truth is, no one has all the answers, and no journey should be alone. Having someone with you to listen, to understand, and to support you can make all the difference. Having someone with you to listen, to understand, and to support you can make all the difference. Mad Dog McKenzie, I know you guys love BetterHelp. It's great.
Yeah, I use it. I think it's awesome.
We've
It's
used
very
it.
easy, and like you do everything online, so you don't have to leave your house. You can switch therapists if you need to. It's like very easy and convenient, and that's really what I like about it. And it's helpful to talk to someone.
It very much is. And it's there when you need it. You can take a break. You can come back to it. I've taken a break and come back to it when I needed it more. And I like that it's always there for you when you need it, how you need it, in different ways.
Quality therapists, BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally, and it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. You don't have to be on this journey alone. Find support and have someone with you in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/dose. That's betterhelp.com/dose.
I want to. What is this? Oz the Mentalist exposed.
So we have an interesting perspective on Oz the Mentalist because we've met him. And
I missed that episode.
yeah.
Dog.
Wait, you weren't on it at all?
No, I wasn't on. I was doing something.
Madeline, were you on the show yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So Pablo Torre did an episode of his podcast talking about Oz the Mentalist. And
it's Oz, it's not Oz?
Yeah, it's Oz.
Hey, see, you already lost me.
Hmm.
Why is it Oz?
I don't know.
What
It's
does
his
that
name. And so he showed several clips where
I actually hate that.
he had another guy on helping to explain some of the stuff that Oz does. And like he seems to be correct in what they're asserting in some of the one of the clips is Will Compton, and they show how Will may have actually mistyped something in his phone that made the trick like kind of not work because he put the wrong name. And so I think the assertion was Oz is working behind the scenes with all these people to, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't think anybody was under the impression that this guy can actually just like read minds, right?
That's what I'm confused about.
He's a magician. Obviously, he's doing tricks. But all I can tell you is my experience with Oz, because now everybody has taken that and been like, see, I knew it. They're working backstage and doing all this stuff. All I can tell you is what he did with us in studio, having never met the guy before, never spoken to him. And he did tricks that I was like, I don't know how you did that. And he even says, if you go back and listen to the episode, he's like, Big T, I can tell he's a skeptic. He really doesn't think I can get him. And all I can tell you from what he did with me was, man, this was been years now. I'd have to go back and watch it. But he handed me a piece of paper and he was like, write the name of one of your friends or somebody that I wouldn't know on this piece of paper. And on the thing, there was a black box drawn in the middle of it. And he was like, write it in this box. So I didn't know what obviously that had something to do with it. So I considered writing it outside the box just to see what would happen. But I didn't. I wrote it in the box. And then he ripped up the piece of paper or something. Again, I'd have to go back and watch the whole thing. But he knew like the name of my friend and his birthday. So that trick I understand, somehow something happened with when I wrote on the piece of paper. He saw it somehow, whatever. He did a trick with Avery where Avery opened a book to a random page. And Oz was like, all right, pick the 14th word on that page. And he like knew the word. And I was like, I don't know how the hell he did that, because Avery could have opened to any page on there. And then he did something with PFT. I forget what it was. But all I can tell you in my personal experience is the guy did tricks. They were cool. I don't know how he did them. I didn't talk to him before or after. That was the extent that I had. It seems that in some others, maybe there's a greater exchange of information prior. I don't know. But
it reminds me of like adults that go to like a state fair and see like magicians or clowns or whatever the case may be, and they'll be like, "No, what the fuck? There's a rope on there, or like there's a string. I see the string." I'm like, what do you think magic really is out here? Like,
Yeah. He is
no
good though.
shit.
Like
Yeah, yeah, he's good. Chris Angel, David Blaine, bro, they're illusionists. Magic is not real. Spoiler alert: magic ain't fucking real, dog. It's not. This don't exist in our world, in our universe. I wish it did. That would be lit. But like I remember inviting a magician to my house for my kid's birthday party, and they were just enthralled. And there was a couple tricks where I was like, ain't no way they fell for that shit. But I'm like letting the kids enjoy the day. I'm not gonna call them out. Why? I don't think magic exists. I know magic don't exist. Who was it? Randy. Fuck, I forget his
Orton,
name.
Travis, Jackson,
Nope, nope. He was
Randy
he was a little
Johnson.
man that exposed mediums and psychics. I forget his name, Randy something.
I'm not familiar with this
Um,
guy's work.
but anywho, so he used to be a magician, and so he knows all the tricks, and he knows like there's a way to do anything. Like it's sleight of hand stuff. It's preemptive responses, or concocted a cold reading. There's ways to like dig and figure out information about people, or it's like pre-planning, whatever. But he took it and he made it his life goal to expose psychics and mediums specifically, because like he was like, this is unethical. He think like mediums, who people who claim that they could talk to the other side, talk to the dead people, are preying on people that are actually affected and hurt and grieving, and you're preying on them. And he just found it abhorrent, and so he made it his life's mission to expose them. And he had an open $1 million bet. He said, if you can prove to me that your powers are real under these set of certain circumstances, then you can have $1 million. And he would set it up in a way that's like they can't use their tricks on him. And so and nobody ever met the standard, obviously, because that shit ain't real either. I know a lot of good people who are smart that believe mediums can talk to the dead. Like, what do you feel about it? You think people can talk to the dead?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. No, I agree. Shit is no, and I think the mediums are. I think you're a big piece of shit. If you're a magician, I think you're cool as hell. That's fire to me, dog. Whatever. Like, get the card trick, do the whoop whoop, whatever. But if you sitting here telling somebody who's lost a loved one that I can communicate with them and then express what they're feeling toward, oh, backhand treatment every time. Fuck out of here. That shit is disgusting to me. But anyway, I don't even. What is the point of trying to expose an illusionist?
Yeah, I don't get that either. Apparently, from what I understand, like a lot of other magicians might not like him, and they don't like
cutting. That makes sense. Cutting out of the business. Cutting into the business.
But yeah, doing an expose on a magician, like, okay. I think it was kind of like an ethical thing, like they're saying some of the stuff he does is unethical, which, like, all right, I guess, but like,
what are you
yeah,
gonna
I
say
don't think anyone
next?
with a functioning brain is like, oh darn, my favorite mentalist O's has been exposed.
There was a
What
show I
will
used
I
to watch when I
do?
was a little kid that it was on Fox, and it was like he was exposing magicians' secrets.
Was
So
it the
like
guy
all
with the weird face?
he had a mask. He had a
Yeah, yeah,
mask
yeah, yeah.
on. Yeah, I loved that show. I loved that show because I used to be into magic. Like I wanted to know how to do it. I never thought it was real, but like I wanted to know how to do it. And he had he exposed a lot of tricks. And I remember magicians being mad at him for that. I remember there being a lot of like hoopla about him exposing the whatever. But I don't know. I don't go to a magic show and expect to see real magic. I want to be fooled. I want to be tricked. Like they ain't cutting bitches in half. What? Are you serious, dog?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
That
Where'd you
came
come
on
from?
like maybe VH1 for me or something.
Yeah, I saw primetime TV, baby.
That was a
It was live.
Fox show?
I think originally it was on Fox. Maddie, you fact check that for me? I believe so, though.
What was the name of it?
We don't know.
We don't know. It was a guy in like a zebra mask.
Yeah.
And he
Or
would
Tiger. I would say Tiger. Tiger
yeah.
Stripe.
But it was black and white, right?
It was like a black and white mask. He had like, his hair covered, so he didn't have any hair. He had gloves
And he
on,
would
suit, the
show
whole
how
nine.
they did like basic
Oh,
magic
I
tricks.
remember this show now too.
What was it called?
Hold on. I got to find it, but I remember what you're talking about.
The funniest one when I remember watching when I was a kid was he showed the illusion of how the big ones get they make a car he made a tank disappear.
Okay.
And before he told me what it was, I was like, bro, clearly they just moved the camera
Yes.
or the car out of the way.
Magic's biggest secrets finally revealed is what it says
That's
on
the
here.
one. That's the one.
And are you asking what channel it was on?
Yeah, what channel did it premiere on? I believe it was Fox. My memory serves me correctly.
Hold on one second.
Either Fox or like
I'm trying to find it.
maybe a UPN. That seems like kind of vibe.
Oh, who?
UPN.
What's that?
Y'all don't know UPN?
Shit. Was that a channel?
It was a channel.
That was like a public access thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Was it UPN? It's been
I think that's like a CW Warner Brothers type thing. Yeah,
some shit like that. Yeah, I believe so. I remember there's a PBS.
Fox.
Look at that. Fucking CTE who? Fuck you, Big T. You know what I mean?
No, I was just I didn't know that was a network show. It doesn't seem like
I wasn't saying fuck you. I was saying fuck.
Yeah.
Just in general, like CTE
your memory's still kicking.
Apparently it's on Netflix now.
All right. Magicians are dope. Stop trying to figure them out, yo.
I don't mind figuring them out. Just don't, understand it's magic.
Part of it, it's like it's
you got to know that the stripper doesn't like you. You know what you're going for.
I was gonna make a less funny one. Yeah, we'll go with that one. I was gonna say wrestling.
Sure.
You know it's not real, but it's fun to not for me, but I'm sure people soap operas.
I actually was as a child. I would vehemently argue with anyone who tried to tell me wrestling wasn't real. I'd get mad about it.
I mean, there's people that.
Then I'd stop. But then I was no longer a child.
Yeah, exactly. Kids now be like, I believe in magic, and that's important to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Santa Claus. I'm an atheist. Christmas is not significant to me, other than what I've made it to be, which is significant. But when my kids, I never told them Santa wasn't real. Let them believe it. Who cares? It's important to them. It matters to them. You know what I mean? Next thing you're gonna tell me pastors are lying. Big T, get out of here. It's not gonna happen.
Stop.
Shit's important, man.
Some do. All right, guys, quick question. How are my Shady Rays basically the same quality as the $200 sunglasses I used to buy? And I'm not exaggerating. They feel every bit as premium as the expensive brands I've owned. Meanwhile, I'm wearing Shady Rays to the lake, on the boat, at the game, on the job site. Because if I drop them in the ocean, they'll replace them. Knock them off the deck, they'll replace them. Sit on them day one, and they will replace them. And here's the crazy part. They're actually premium. Polarized lenses that cut glare hard, super clear optics, durable frames with solid hinges, clean, classic styles that look sharp without trying too hard. If you're outside, on the water, in the sun, or driving every day, you need shades that actually perform. Go to ShadyRays.com, grab a pair, and get sunglasses with lost and broken protection. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to ShadyRays.com and use code MACRO for 50% off 2 or more polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
What is this Google? What is this Google story you got me on?
So Google is attempting to, I think as soon as this week, from what I read, they are trying to transition away from the Google search that they've had for 30 years into like almost a fully AI type thing. With the revamped search experience, the new search box simply expands to accommodate longer, more conversational queries rather than making you decide what type of search experience or mode you want to choose at the start of your query. It will also have a new AI-powered query suggestion system that goes beyond autocomplete to help people craft more complex and nuanced queries, Google says. Google's AI overviews will also allow users to ask follow-up questions in AI mode beginning Tuesday. So it seems they are trying to move more fully toward the AI companion thing it gives you when you Google something now, instead of just giving you links to websites. Which people are saying will hurt smaller websites who obviously rely on SEO and Google to drive traffic to them.
If you've cornered the market, I I'm struggling to understand the reasoning for this because to me it kind of waters down AI in general. Then, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm off base here. Like what makes AI powerful is it can scour through all of these different links and websites. I guess it will still be able to, but I would assume that Google is like a huge aggregate of these things. And if that's no longer the case, it basically wants to be a Chat GPT or a Claude or a whatever, right? A Grok, which scours major aggregates of clips, news sources, websites, and it's saying it doesn't really want to do that anymore. It just wants to become another AI.
I think a lot of these companies see the whole AI, ecosystem as the future of not only their businesses but the economy, and they're trying everything they can to harness that in whatever form that takes. So for Google, like there was a story that came out recently, Amazon is requiring that all employees like utilize AI in some fashion. So a
Yes.
lot of them are just making up fake stuff for their AI like profile to do to show their bosses like, look, I'm using it. So I think all these companies don't exactly know what they want to use it for yet. They just know they want to use it.
Well, this is why I feel
They're a
like
hammer looking for a nail.
well, I think it's a little deeper than that actually. I think so I'm real good friends with a corporate lawyer that works for Amazon, and they were telling me that exactly that they're kind of mandated to use Claude and some kind of they have to be very up to date on the newest AI technology and its inner workings. And what she was basically explaining and what she was like, yeah, they're doing it to collect data from us, how we work, workflow, um, all these different variable inputs to what makes them successful at their job. And she's like, to eventually replace us. And I was like, you just said that all willy nilly, like it's not. She's like, it is what it is. Like, but that's what I see what's happening. She was like, I think they're gonna eventually try to replace us, and this is what I see, and it's what I see from all these companies, and why it's never really been a free market. You have access to all this data, which is, and I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here, but like you have access to all this data that has been collected from consumers, buyers, sellers, the entire market, trends, whatever. So you have a cheat sheet about what's going to happen in the next wave of things, in the next anything that is about to take place in this economy. And I think that's what they're doing. They're just using it to collect more data, user patterns, all of these things, um, to find better ways to sell shit to you. I think that's what's the ultimate goal is to just a consumerism hellscape.
I think that's certainly part of it. But if you're a company like Google, particularly as it relates to the search function, their original purpose, now they're $3 trillion company or whatever.
Mm.
But they don't make more or less money, I assume, from like if it's their AI or if you search something and they give you the links to the websites. I would imagine. I don't know that. But it seems like this is just okay, let's see what we can do with this, and how well it's going to work.
That could be a case, but so like when I think of like a Claude or a Chat GPT, people develop intimate relationships with them, like deep relationships. And to me, as a multi-billion trillion dollar company, I look at that as prime pickings for how the psychology of a consumer works. And I could be wrong about this, but I just feel every major company doesn't actually care about people and they care about how we can extract wealth from them via exchange of goods and services. Uh So I don't even view it as like them just trying to like keep up with the Joneses. Maybe and like again, this is I'm going off into Aryan world. Maybe this is just another way because I would assume like the Claude, I use Claude a lot, that it knows me more intimately than my Google search history does. Even though I've used Google search history, like a Google search longer than I have like a Claude, the amount of time and the way I probe it and the way I've crafted it, it probably knows my spending patterns and economic behavior better than Google does, which I think is the ultimate goal. And I could be wrong about that, but that's just in my heart of hearts. I feel like that's all this shit is about how to how to aggregate uh consumer spending patterns. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but I just don't see I don't see the point of it. You have a market cornered. You are forever embedded in humanity's lexicon about how to search for shit.
That's what
You
I'm saying.
Google
I
it.
don't think it serves like a massive business purpose. I think every company out there is just trying to see what all can we use this for.
And you have probably one of the most successful businesses in human history, and you want to alter its DNA to test what happens.
For something that people hate, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. I find it hard to believe. What makes most sense to me is they have found value in it in the back end. Like, okay, we see what Gemini does, right? Because they have Gemini. Okay, we beta tested Gemini. Gemini gets our consumers. This is what I'm spitballing, but Gemini gets our consumers. We get to know them way better and way deeper than if they just type in what's the nearest restaurant. Because if I do it on a Chat GPT or Claude, it's like, what's the nearest restaurant? Suited to my likes and blah, 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 and you get to go deeper. That's what I feel. I just don't find it as blank as we're just trying to see what's popping with this. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I'm
could be
sure
right.
there's a deeper thing to it than that, but Google's worked fine for 30 years.
Yeah, man. We used to dogpile stuff. You weren't around for those days. Dogpile, Ask Jeeves.
Dogpile.
Dogpile was a search engine.
This is the first I've ever heard of that. I know Jeeves and Yahoo and
Yahoo was one. Yeah.
Ask.com. Or was
Hmm.
that what Jeeves turned into?
Dogpile?
No, because there was Ask Jeeves and then there was just Ask.com. I think that may have been Ask Jeeves.
Could be. Yeah. Could be. Yeah. But I grew up in a
DuckDuckGo.
Dogpile was actually my go-to. Like it wasn't even Google. I used to use Dogpile all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I used to use Dogpile a lot. Yeah. Back in the message boards days, bro. The message board, that was an era. You missed that era.
It still is if you're a college football fan.
That shit is still cracking like that.
Oh, buddy, there are people who have been on the message board since the time you're talking about, and they have 962,000 lifetime posts. And
The
they,
OGs,
oh yeah,
platinum status.
oh yeah,
That buddy, you new here. I've been here.
yeah. But message board, I think college football is keeping message boards alive for the most part. I guess you could classify Reddit as kind of a message board deal.
It was like the first social media, really, right?
Yeah,
Because
AOL.
it's like a little subset of like Twitter has communities or Facebook has. I'm pretty sure I haven't had Facebook in years, but like has communities and little threads that you can go back and forth on, fan pages, whatever. It's like the first. That's like the first version of it. Like we all have this common interest.
Were
Yeah,
you on AIM?
profiles. I was on AIM.
What was
Yeah.
your AIM screen name?
Um. Memoirs of the Sun.
Oh, interesting.
That was my like when I was little, all the way up until that was my last Call of Duty name too.
Really?
Yeah, Memoirs of the Sun. This was Modern Warfare 2 days. Yeah, I don't.
Great game.
Yeah, if Black Ops 3 they lost me.
Yeah, I haven't played Call of Duty in a few years. It's just, I mean, how many Black Ops can there be, you know? They're on 6 or 7 now, no pun intended. 6, 7. They really are. It's like Black Ops 6, I swear.
No, I was just like, how many Black Ops could there be? I'm like, plenty, man.
Oh.
It depends on where you from.
Another P in there, yeah. If you're watching the game, working late, or just too lazy to cook on any given night, there's only one call to make. Pardon my cheesesteak. We're talking thinly sliced steak, melted provolone, mouth-watering cheese sauce, all loaded up on a perfectly toasted hoagie roll. This is a legit heavy hitter cheesesteak. And if you really want to do it right, grab the Big Cat Combo, cheesesteak, fries, and a drink. That's a complete meal. It's available nationwide and it delivers easy. Game day, covered. Late night, covered. So stop overthinking dinner. Order Pardon My Cheesesteak right now and use code AWL for free delivery on pardonmycheesesteak.com.
All right, so we get to our main topic. I was a little hesitant on doing this, but you wanted to dispel some things and talk about this, and I'm like, all right,
that's a great lead-in, Arian. Tell the audience that you're not excited to talk about our topic today. That's what they teach you to do first day of podcasting school.
My dear Macrodosians, there's no way you think that this is year 5 of this podcast, right?
6.
This is year 6?
Yeah, we've gone past 5 years. We're in year 6.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're in year 6 of this podcast. We're all different human beings. When topics are thrown out, some people are more excited about these topics than others, and that's just how human
I think
beings
this
work.
is hot in the streets right now, and I think people need to hear about it. Which
is why I was inclined to I want to hear your take. I mean, I definitely have a take, but I'm gonna let you lead the way. We're talking about data centers for AI companies, and if you want to, I guess, give the rundown, give the background, and then we could just duke it out.
Yeah, so I was intrigued by this because I can't go on Twitter now on my For You page without just seeing it. It's nothing but data center talk. I don't know what I've done to garner that kind of stuff from X.com, but that's all it thinks I want to hear. So I see a lot of these takes about data centers, and it all struck me as very alarmist, and I'm not an AI, guy. I think it's a weird topic for me because I'm definitely not in favor of the AI revolution that seems to be occurring. But then I see all this talk of the data centers and how we're gonna have no clean drinking water in 15 years because of the data centers. I'm like, that strikes me as probably untrue. So I just wanted to look into it a little more. And I would say after doing that I think I was right for the most part in those hypotheses.
State your case, gangster.
So these data centers are popping up all over the place because as these AI companies expand, they need servers and stuff to run. And we've had thousands of data centers for years. Like, that's how the internet works. That's how, there's farms of data centers all over the place. I think 40% of Americans live within 5 miles or so of a data center. And I'm sure most people don't even know that they do. But now that it's an AI thing, people are catastrophizing it and, making it seem like it's this huge thing. So I looked into it, and the thing you hear about is the water, that they use so much water. We're not going to have any water left. It's killing the planet. So I did a little research. Arian, data centers for both power and cooling use about 170 billion gallons of water a year. So let's even say as they're rapidly expanding and they're building more, let's say they do 5 times that and they get to 1 trillion gallons a year, right? Currently the 170 is less than half of 1% of the US freshwater usage. Negligible. Golf courses in the United States use 1 trillion gallons a year. I don't think we're stopping that anytime soon. Almond production in the United States. I'm fascinated by almonds. We might need to do an episode on almonds because apparently they kill all the bees too.
Almonds do?
Yeah, because that's the thing when vegans are always talk about how unethical eating meat and stuff is. A retort from some people is that almond production kills like some insane amount of bees. I don't know why that is, but it does. Almond production in the United States uses 1.7 trillion gallons of water a year. So double that of golf courses, 100 or so times that of data centers. And lawn maintenance in the United States, 3.3 trillion gallons of fresh water a year. So, in the grand scheme of things, even if there are 10 times the amount of data centers there are right now, the water's going to be fine. I think what a lot of the consternation is that people don't like AI, which I'm with, and it's why I'm not trying to lick the boots of the data center people, but it just seemed like a lot of the stuff people were talking about was a little alarmist. But I think they don't like AI. They don't want to live next to them, which is fair enough. I don't want to live next to any, power plant or tire plant or anything like that. And I think they're using that to, they're trying to come up with everything they can to be like, we can't build any data centers. There's, I think Kevin O'Leary is trying to build a gigantic one in Utah in the middle of nowhere. And it's like on 44,000 acres, I think. And the population is revolting. It's in the middle of like a valley where nobody lives. There's nothing out there. They're purchasing all the water rights. They're going to have like their own water supply, their own electrical supply, like everything. And people are still going nuts about it. And it's like, that kind of seems like where they should be, is out in the middle of nowhere where nobody lives, but people don't even want that. So I actually saw this morning, St. Charles, Missouri, which is where my dad's from. They have banned data centers in the town. I don't know where they were going to put one. I've been to St. Charles dozens of times. I don't know of many places that one would have gone, but they have banned them. So congrats to St. Chuck. But yeah, it's just per 5 gallons of water usage, data centers generate $132 in gross domestic product. Almond production generates 2 cents per 5 gallons. So it actually seems like kind of an okay use of water and stuff to like, it's helping the economy. Whether you're down with what it's doing or not, it's a different conversation. But
so just in my little small bit of research, I don't think the argument is that I don't think it's the water usage per se. I think that is a part of it, but like you said, when you compare it to golf courses or almond usages, almond production, it's not as bad. But I think the issue is like where, and what I'm saying is it's where these things are being located. So if it's away and it's by small towns, like that water gets depleted for those small towns, which is problematic.
But but that's not true. The whole water thing comes from a book called Empire of AI by a woman named Karen Howe. And she detailed a data center in Chile, and she said it consumed 1,000 times the water supply of the population of the town. And it turns out her calculations were off by a factor of 1,000. And so it was the equivalent of the town, and she had to apologize and say that they made a terrible error in their calculations. And then people still run with that, like, that data somehow.
I think there are there are cases like that where maybe they were, mistaken on the reading of the data or stuff, but there are cases of small towns where their water has been depleted. Like this is documented. Chester County, Pennsylvania, Newton County, Georgia, I think was one.
Okay, so I don't know. Newton County, I think that's like Covington. So I don't know if that's the same one. There was a story recently, I think it's Fayetteville, Georgia, and the town was freaking out because they claimed that this company got $30 million worth of water that they didn't have to pay for or something, and there was a drought going on. And what actually happened was the county was redoing all of its meters, and they were switching it from like an old system to a new system, and they missed one that the data center was part of. And then as soon as they found it, the place paid all of it, and it was totally fine. But that somehow turned into a story that the data center was robbing the town of all its water, and like that didn't happen at all. So just in what I looked up, it seems that a lot of this stuff is blown out of proportion. But again, I don't want the entire country turning into like an AI data center on every corner. But
I think that's where we're headed, and that's why. So, like, I haven't done enough research to sit here and combat and refute every single one of these claims. But just from what I've just brought up, there are towns that have been depleted of water. But even if that's the case, there's like a whole legal aspect to it, where there's towns not able to combat a Google or a OpenAI or whatever the case may be in court to fight these kind of things anyway. And so you're just basically at the mercy of companies saying this is okay. And so and not to mention there are people who are physically affected by this. Like they're saying that if they're in or around neighborhoods or communities that they're loud, having trouble sleeping, stuff like that. That's something to be considered too. I mean, again, I'm not advocating. I'm just saying what the retort to it is, and this is somebody who uses AI almost on a daily basis. But I do
you're big.
think, huh?
You're big on AI.
I mean, it's the future. I make it a point to my kids that you have to keep up with technology, or else it'll pass you by. And I think you're a sitting duck if you're not in the know about our technological advances as a society. The scams people can lay on you using higher technology than you're aware of. Like it's just you have to keep abreast of it. But I'm like I don't know enough about it to refute any of your claims. But I'm always skeptical when major corporations are saying something is good for the environment in general. So
I agree.
I'll do a little bit.
If the problem with it is like we don't want them in small communities and like taking 100%, nobody wants that. But like there seems to be a bunch of consternation about the Kevin O'Leary one that's out in the middle of the desert in Utah, and that seems like where we should be building them. So they're gonna go somewhere. So I think we need to figure out where that can be and how we can minimize their effects. But I think the whole I think there's a lot of hand wringing that isn't necessarily true. So I think we need to come together and be like, we can build these in a sensible location with, Also, I saw somebody had a great idea. Like if you want to build a data center somewhere, you have to build a park and basketball courts and something like down the road. Like, I think that's great. Just figure it out. But
I agree. That would be a dope compromise. But it's funny that billionaires want to put data centers in, and you have to kind of like trick them into doing it. All right, throw the people a bone to help them out, and they're like, all right, fuck it, give them a playground.
I mean, I think that'd be great. It's better than nothing.
They should be doing that shit anyway, dog. Billionaires are hilarious to me. I see this video of some lady, and she was like, billionaires are fucking psycho. Some of them are like psycho. Like $1 billion is an insane amount of money. And she's like, you have everything anybody could ever want in the history of the human existence, but you also want our attention and our love. You want to go on podcasts and say how cool you are and go to Met galas and like that is psychotic behavior, dog. Like you want to be loved too by the public. Get the fuck. Big T, if I was a billionaire, respectfully, I wouldn't be here, dog.
Well, so that's so this is I think again my hypothesis was correct. How many billionaires would you guess there are? Because I was gonna say I think what you're describing, I think the real richest people in the world you'd never know.
Yeah, there's not a whole about 300, 400, maybe
3,400.
God damn.
The people that's what I was. The people that are actually rich, you don't know. You could walk right by them on the street. You'd never know. I think the billionaires that are, The Mark Cubans and the Kevin O'Learys and those people of the world, I think they're few and far between.
Psycho. Still psychos.
I would want to own the Atlanta Braves, but outside of that, I wouldn't care to,
Yeah. I don't know, man. You know who I would turn into if I was a billionaire, Big T?
Who's that?
Jesus Christ. I would be feeding the fuck out of people. I would be dumping all my resources into people, helping people.
That would be great. I don't know that you would transform into Jesus, but I think your ideals are good.
Sure, I wouldn't transform into Jesus, though. Like,
you said you would turn into Jesus.
I know. I said you know who I would be. I'll be Jesus Christ. I would do nothing but help sick people, poor people, hungry people. That's all I would do.
I hope that would be the case. Collectively, the 3,400 billionaires in the world hold a historic net worth of $20.1 trillion.
That is hilarious to me, dog.
That's actually less than I would have anticipated, right? Because that's only
how much is that of the total global net worth of humans?
I mean, I don't know if that includes businesses or not. Total household wealth globally is between 450 and 500 trillion. So and that is what? 5%.
Wait, billionaires hold 5% of the world's total net worth?
That's what I'm seeing, yes.
Cannot be the case. No.
Some estimates reaching up to 600 trillion, so then it would be like 3.5%.
What?
You don't like that? You want them to have more?
No. Hell no.
All right, well, then why are you mad?
I've heard and read numbers different than that, but that could be the case.
This says the top 1% controls nearly half of the world's wealth, but 1% is going to include way more than 3,400 people. You're in the 1%.
Yeah, agreed. But again, hold on. But comparing my wealth to a Jeff Bezos is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The 1% encompasses a lot of people. It's 1 out of every 100.
So, okay, do that. Do the 1% global.
This says nearly half.
That's more of the numbers I've heard.
But that's you.
It is me. But again, this is where billionaires trick you, though. This is where billionaires trick you. My net worth compared to their net worth and how I attained it also, right? This goes into more economic theory, but how I attained it is not how they attained it. I didn't obtain my wealth by exploiting workers. I was a worker. Does that make sense? Who did I exploit obtaining my wealth?
I mean, if you're going to use the same argument that you're going to use for a lot of billionaires, you could say a lot of people.
Who?
The concession workers in the stadium.
That's not. I don't own that. I don't own any part of that.
Okay, but like if
that is what like Marxism is. It's the ownership of means of production. I don't have ownership in that. The owners of the company divvy and decide.
But you didn't have to put up any capital to get your job either.
Clearly, but that's not what I'm saying. You're pivoting. That's not the argument. The argument isn't.
Well, the reason they own it is because they paid to take the risk to start it.
Sure, but that has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Sure, it does.
You don't have because you can put up all the capital you want to start it. It is not sustainable without the concession stands workers, without the players, without the people that actually make the business go. So we're not saying that you shouldn't be rewarded for your business idea and your risk for starting a company. We're saying that it don't work without further exploitation.
So then what? And we're getting way off track. But just what's the?
No, it's pretty on track.
What is the cutoff that? So Jeff Bezos starts a $1 trillion company.
Right.
what's the and by the way, he does. I don't know what his net worth is, 100 billion, whatever it is.
Mhm.
He obviously doesn't have that in cash, like, which I think a lot of people get misconstrued, but whatever. Like, what's the cutoff then? What can he earn?
That's up to him, and it's contingent on each individual company. But there are plenty of examples of companies that run their business ethically. So there's smaller businesses, there's larger businesses. Ocean Spray is one. Ocean Spray is a socialist company where they're a worker co-op where they all own the means of production. All individual farmers own the means of production. They all collectively make decisions. There's plenty of large companies, small companies that do the same thing. But what people complain about is somebody like Jeff Bezos. You have people striking in Amazon for healthcare reasons, pay reasons, work conditions, stuff like that. When you have yachts and jets and all of this shit. That's what people are complaining about. But this is the trick that billionaires pull on people is they say, well, look at the millionaires. They're the same. We're not. I'm not. I'm not the same. Anybody look at this podcast, for example. Anytime I have an opportunity to pay people fairly for their wages, I do. And I think you work at Amazon, you should have a livable wage. I don't
So
think that's even a controversial take.
we actually should. He had an interview that came out, I think, this morning with CNBC that I've seen people tweet about and say it's very good.
Mhm.
And so we should watch that and talk about it next week. Because from what I see, he talked about like, yeah, I want all my workers to have healthcare and this kind of stuff. But then he talked about I from what I understand, and we should probably go watch the whole thing. But he said like, I'm down with billionaires paying more taxes, but it doesn't solve anything when the federal government is just going to spend it recklessly, and it's not going to actually solve any problems.
So I wouldn't. I don't disagree with that statement, but I think the sleight of hand there is you are one of the billionaires that constantly lobby for lower taxes. He was a huge proponent of Trump. Trump lowered taxes for the higher class. So if you're going to one hand say I don't mind if we pay higher taxes, you wouldn't lobby and pay money to see that your political agenda is pushed. That to me, that's the sleight of hand, and they'll always say that shit
So he
because
said, quote, we don't have a revenue problem in this country. We already have the most progressive tax system in the world. The top 1% of taxpayers pay 40% of all taxes. The bottom 50% pay 3%. We have a spending problem. And then he said, if I do my job right, the value to society from my companies will be much larger than the good I do through charitable giving. And then in response to AOC, who said you can't earn $1 billion recently, he said, the way you make $1 billion is you create a service that people love. And if millions of people choose your service, you're going to end up with $1 billion.
yeah, he's making a capitalistic argument. It's ridiculous, but he's looking at it from a ownership standpoint. He's not looking at it from an Amazon truck driver standpoint or a warehouse worker standpoint, where none of that shit works without them. It doesn't. It can't. It will not survive. Jeff Bezos is not going to give you all of these packages delivered to your doorstep. And also, you need workers, and they're just arguing give them livable wages, healthcare, all of these things, and we would argue a portion of the means of production. But I think the con that this country has pulled over people's eyes the most is to protect the wealthiest people that continuously fuck them over. And I get put in that category all the time. And the argument I hear most is partly why I got off Twitter because I get tired of looking at that shit. But people are like, well, you could just give all your money away. That's just the silliest fucking argument in the world. It's just silly because that won't change. That won't systemically change anything. If Aaron gives all his wealth away, then I'll just be broke and I'll have to go back to work and then I'll be repeating the cycle. And I exist in this system, but I do my best to try to change this system. And I did that on purpose because I believe that everybody should have a fair share and a working, livable wage. If y'all are doing all the work that we are, why shouldn't you? I feel like that's not an unreasonable ask. There's this company I came across on Instagram. It's a soap company, and she's like, "We're a communist company, like top to bottom." She's like, "I don't make a penny more than any of my workers." and she runs it like that. She runs everybody owns part of the business. They all make decisions, and they're doing really good. And to me, I don't think you view that as like morally, um I guess any more or less moral than any like business owner. And I think that's like probably the biggest divide in our politics. Um, which it's neither here nor there. But
Well,
I think that
that also, so that depends on several things, but like, so Amazon has 1.5 million employees.
okay.
So when you say everyone gets a part of the means of production, what does that mean? They all get stock, or they all get like a dividend check? Like what?
Some of them do get stock. So it depends. Like I would have to sit down and go over all of the numbers, right? But I'm almost positive they don't get like they don't get they get compensated. They get working wages, but they don't own any part of the company. They don't make any decisions. I'm not saying every single Amazon employee should make decisions, right? But there's also a big reason why major corporations don't like unions, because unions make sure that people get the wages that they want, fair working conditions, healthcare, all of these things that, in my opinion, is essential to a happy society, comfortable society. Um, Again, anytime I hear this argument, it just blows my mind that it's not even. I don't know how people argue against it. I do understand. It's like people off. Like I had a conversation with my homeboy one day. He's like, "I'm gonna be a millionaire." I'm like, "You probably won't," and it's nothing to do with his work ethic. It has nothing to do with kind of the cloth he's cut from. I think he's a hardworking dude, good dude, solid dude, has a good product. I said, but in order that to happen, so many things have to fall into place, and so many things have to happen in order for you to get that. That's just not likely. I said, I hope it. I'll do everything in my power to help you, but it's just not likely. Like it's a pipe dream. And I think the more this society goes on, the more and more it's happening. The wealth wage gap is growing. And so I don't know. Let me get off my soapbox. What do I know? I don't know shit. Shout out to Bezos though.
So the data centers, how did we get there? Oh, well, we were the AI companies and all that.
Yeah, they're gonna do what they want.
Yeah, I think in terms of the data centers, I think we both agree like nobody wants them popping up in every town in America.
I think it's inevitable though. It's gonna happen.
I mean, from what my rudimentary knowledge, you don't need. Now, again, we've never seen companies like, Anthropic and OpenAI and all these. We don't know what they're going to turn into, but like we
Right.
have the entire government run on data centers that are already in the United States, and I don't know that I've ever seen one. So I feel like we can probably get away with it not being remarkably intrusive, but I don't know.
We need younger motherfuckers in Congress. We need younger motherfuckers in Congress. That will work.
How young?
That's a good question.
I
I
think
say
I
30,
think I said on
30,
this show recently
30.
40 to 70. I think that's how old you should be to be able to serve in the government.
I think 70. You gotta get up out of there. I
But
think 65. You done.
all right,
Not saying that
you could
that's
talk me
old.
into that.
You know what I'm saying? I got parents that are in the latter part of 65. Still got all their wits. Still whatever. But like, nah. I had to teach my pops how to work AI. And he's like poking it with a stick. Like he'll fuck with it and he'll like, for a few days not touch it. Because I gave him access to mine and he wanted to work on this project. I was like, no, you can do this PowerPoint in 20 minutes with AI. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. So I got all this data from him, put it in there. I had the whole PowerPoint thing. I was like, you don't have to fact check and stuff because it still makes some mistakes. But he went through it and he's like, this is crazy. When so I reached out to him like a week later. I said, have you like, upgraded it, done anything to it? He's like, yeah, I'm working on it, man. I'm bringing myself there. He just like doesn't trust it. So he doesn't. And so there's a tab uh in my little chat history where it's his PowerPoint and he hasn't even gone back in. I can say there's been no activity.
You're watching him like a professor?
Well, no, I want to see what he does and how he interacts with it because again, I believe that keeping up with the technological advances in our society will do nothing but aid you. I may not agree with them. I may not agree with how ethically they're ran or their purposes, but it's here whether we like it or not. And so you might as well know what's going on. And so I'm explaining this to him, and he's like fascinated, and he saw what it can do, and I think it kind of like fucked with him a little bit, like, hey yo, like, what is this shit?
Yeah, but you're watching him like a professor. You know, they have that software now where they can watch as you type a paper to see if you used AI or not.
Well, no. Like, so like, look, I got my Claude open right now, and I just go into the chat, and I realize, look, let me see if he's done anything. Nah, still there. I do that like once a week. I'll check and see if he's done anything. I'm not like watching. I don't know. Nah. I hope he does though. I hope he gets this shit. It's I think it's important. This shit can go haywire. Especially because have you seen these shits, these new scams where they like the face, whatever thing, like they can like you can like FaceTime people with that filter of people that they aren't. And like they can
No.
do it they could do it to somebody that you know. And so you could be FaceTiming your mom's or something. She's like, hey, can you lend me like can you throw me like $1,000 or whatever the case may be? And it's your mom's face and voice. Shit like that is
Really?
on the horizon. And that's why like I want my parents to be like my mom laughs at her mom right now because she got by a like some phone company scammer. She's like, "Mom, you gotta be more careful." But I'm trying to show my mom what's on the horizon of the scamming shit that's about to happen. It's gonna get wild. So you have to like have safeguards around your folks who aren't up on this shit. So that's why I like to stay up on this shit. And I'm sure when I'm decrepit, my kids are gonna be like, "Pops, well, stop answering those emails."
Yeah, I think if you're like 50 to 60 right now, in 10 years, the stuff's going to be bad, like what they're going to be able to do.
Unrecognizable. Yeah. Because I'm pretty good at identifying AI videos, but there are a couple that have gotten me where I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no way. Like, there's this dude who put out one who was like, he's like, right now, this is AI. You're looking at an AI model. And it's like, he's like, look at the dust on my hat. Look at the, blah, 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 and people are saying it's AI. It looked real as shit to me. I mean, there's been some animal videos that look real to me. And it's like, you gotta be careful, dog.
Yeah, I think in 5 or 10 years we can't even fathom the scams they're going to be able to have.
And I think it's so hilarious that like our the 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 production of AI and the how good it's gotten is like forever measured to how Will Smith eats spaghetti.
Yeah, he's getting better.
He's got really good. There was this one with the open seed one where there were scene cuts and he was eating the spaghetti. I was like, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
5 years from now, I'm not gonna be able to tell. I don't think I'm gonna be able to tell.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, my brother. Um, yeah, that is the talk on data centers. Data centers. If you're less, bougie. Uh, I don't like I said. I've done minimal research into it, and it's not my bag. But
Wait,
I, I
do you think there's a class divide between people who say data and data?
maybe not class. It could be regional, but there is a divide. I'm not sure how to categorically
I
place
don't
people.
I
How do you say it?
I've said both. I think I typically say data.
CSA data.
But I don't know that I've noticed any sort of divide in the people who say one or the other.
But I'm skewed though because I think the reason why I say data is because data is a key character in one of my favorite shows of all time, is Star Trek. He was the number 2 officer for Captain Picard. His name's Data. And
And we
so
all knew that.
yeah, and when people say Data, I think of the android who was like a he was AI, he's artificial intelligence who developed, I wouldn't say a soul, but he developed some cognition that was it was interesting to explore in the early 90s about AI's development into, you know, sentience. There were some dope episodes about that. But anywho, data, potato. We're all human beings, man, except for Jeff Bezos
Could be a
and
robot.
Nancy Pelosi. That'd be fire. It would
She
make
for
it
sure
make more
is.
sense.
Or a lizard person.
Now that's a conspiracy. We've done that one, right?
I think so.
Yeah. David Icke. David Icke was a conspiracy theorist about the lizard people. And he said one of the firest shits ever. And this is why I don't care how much you disagree with somebody, it doesn't mean they can't say dope shit. He said, uh, he said, because I'm getting too close to the truth. And when you get too close to the truth, they can assassinate you or assassinate your character. And in my case, they've chosen the latter. And I was like, hey, that is fire. That is a great quote.
Yeah.
I love that quote. Don't think there's lizard people though. I think that concludes our episode today. I think Eric is back on Monday, right?
No. You and I are back on Monday that we're going to record in 5 minutes on Tuesday. Yeah. And we'll do some episodes here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be live in studio. And we're gonna put out a golf video. Are we gonna do breaking 80?
Yeah.
Let's do breaking 80. That should be fun. And it should be
Hopefully
easy.
you,
Should be
Eric, and myself.
Yeah, this should be an easy task. Maybe we should break par.
That's going to be tough.
I don't think so, man. I mean, I've shot in the 70s.
Maybe 75.
Times. Breaking 75.
We'll figure it out.
I like that one. Breaking 75 with the fellas and the ladies. All right, man. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And stay safe out there in these streets, man.
Goodbye.